Hello everyone. This is Tobi from the Phuket Meditation Center, and you're listening to the Dharana Meditation Podcast. Let's sit together, calm the busy mind, and explore topics concerning character development, meditative training, and deeper self-knowledge. Start by sitting upright. At the same time, relaxed. Let your body gradually become more still. Allow the breath to sink a little deeper into the belly, breathing in a way that feels nice, that feels comfortable. Receive yourself as you are, without changing anything, with a warm, kind acceptance of what is. Just allowing everything to be. We're not here to add anything on or take anything away. It's just simply about seeing the way it is. Learning to relax with the truth. As everything slows down, the consciousness spreads out in the body, feeling the entire body. And each time you breathe out, softening a little bit, letting go of all the tension that is there. And of course, I'm talking about all the unnecessary tension. For example, you don't need to have tension between your eyebrows or in your jaw just to help you sit upright. The same goes for the belly, the heart, shoulders, hands. So each time when you breathe out, let go a little bit. Become a little bit more soft. And notice that each time you let go of some of the tension, it feels a little bit better, a little bit more comfortable. It shows you that you're on the right track. Think of each breath as being one meditation session. Breathing in, simply feeling the body. Breathing out, just releasing a bit. Finding some softness. Noticing that this is better. Just one breath. And of course you're going to be quite distracted and the mind is wandering around. It has to be expected, that's normal. What matters is those moments when you wake up. You again find this one breath. You find a little bit of softness as you breathe out. Allow the mind to rest here with this moment. It's connecting with the aliveness of your body and this experience right now. Or maybe an experience of sound. An experience of feeling. A couple of thoughts passing through. Simply know what is happening while it is happening. Cultivating presence. We're letting go of thinking about the future, thinking about the past, hoping, fearing, and so forth. Now surrendering to this moment. Notice how your attention effortlessly and naturally moves from sound to sound, from sound to feeling, from feeling to feeling,
from feeling the thought, from thought to thought, round and round. There's no effort in this process. There's no effort in experiencing this moment. There's no effort in being here. Experiences arise, change, and pass naturally, just following their nature. Whatever thought might arise, that will pass, being replaced by an experience of sound. That experience of sound doesn't last, being replaced by an experience of feeling. And the more you're connecting with life, with the truth of this moment, the deeper you can relax. As everything arises, changes, and passes rapidly. Experiences lose their solidity, their concreteness. Everything is buzzing, everything is alive. The more you enter this state of presence, the less thoughts will go through your mind, because they too arise and pass and lack any solidity. And to the extent that your thoughts lose their relevance, you can enter silence. You're sitting here like a mirror, simply reflecting what is, without commenting on it, without any narrative. Simple, pure reflection of truth. Rest in this presence, in this silence. There's nothing to add, nothing to take away. While you're resting in this open presence, you can gradually in your own time come back and open your eyes. Stretch your body a little bit if you like. It's quite fascinating to sit down and see yourself very clearly. And what kind of state are you in? What's your state of mind, your emotional state? What's the state of your body? Are you at ease? Are you relaxed? Are you calm? Are you okay with the way it is? Or are you engaged in fight or flight mode all the time? Are you battling with truth? Are you fighting the way it is, resisting? Or following it? You can very clearly observe these two modes of engaging what is. A feeling arises in the body. What's your response? Say it's a pleasant feeling. What's the response? Usually immediately we go out to the feeling, grab it, try to maintain it, try to keep it, try to amplify it, make it more pleasant. When an unpleasant sensation arises, then what's the reaction? Immediately resisting it, trying to get out of it, trying to escape it, fight it. The same goes for thoughts, as sounds. You got a pleasant thought that arises, a nice idea, you're going to hold on to it. And it drags you down all kinds of alleyways. When an unpleasant thought arises, unpleasant memory or something like that, you kind of try to get rid of it. You're fighting, resisting it. And with all the other senses, an unpleasant smell arises, or an unpleasant sight arises, you're sitting there. It's always that we either try to get rid of it or we get just completely lost in it. There's these two responses to our experiences. And you can very well see by these responses what your state is. Are you a spiritual practitioner or are you not? It's just super open. I mean, we can fool everyone around us. We can say, yes, I'm a spiritual practitioner. We can put spiritual photos online of ourselves. We can post spiritual quotes, whatever it is. That is very easy. You can quickly fool great masses that you are very spiritual, you're a great meditator, you're an amazing person, you're so deep, you're so profound. It's very, very easy. It doesn't take no effort, actually. But when you sit there and your body is quiet and you're limited, you can't move, you can't get out of there, that's when you see the truth. Well, are you spiritual? Are you at ease? Are you okay? Are you peaceful? You know, you can't tell whether someone is peaceful or not when the circumstances are nice. Then we're all quite calm, sedated, tranquilized, out there in a hammock on a beach. Life's awesome. Of course it is. You're peaceful. Well, of course you are. You're in a hammock, enjoying life. We got our cafes in the morning. Wonderful. It's very relaxing. Many of us now, due to having an online lifestyle, you can get up whenever you want, sleep in, do whatever you like, day in, day out, travel, see the world. So a whole lot of people think they're very peaceful because our lifestyle is incredibly comfortable. Sure, there's minor discomforts every now and then, but hey, you don't have to dodge bullets, right? You didn't just lose a loved one in a bombing. You doing pretty okay. I'm talking about the majority of people who can afford spirituality, who can afford a spiritual image. Those who can't afford, those who are in bombings, they have no spiritual thoughts. Those who are busy dodging bullets or trying to get food, you think they have time to sit down and cross their legs and meditate? Or post on Instagram that they are very spiritual? Forget it. Only those who can afford dishonesty would fall for these kind of things. So we need something to keep us in check, because there is a tendency that when we're comfortable, when we're at ease, to just believe that everything's fine and we're totally great. So what is it that keeps us in check? There's two things. One, it's ethics. Rules of behavior, structure. That can show you whether you're still comfortable within a structure or not. So what kind of structure am I talking about? A structure where you avoid what harms you and you do what's good for you. Start there. That's already really difficult for a lot of people. Doing what's good for me, wow, that's challenging. When the entire world around me is advertising things that are bad for me, and these adverts are really powerful, they suck me right in. It's much more convenient to spend 1 or 2 hours watching silly YouTube clips, cat videos, whatever, than actually dealing with stuff that I need to be dealing with that's rather uncomfortable. So I might put that on hold and say, well, I don't want to do that. I'll do it later. Right now, I'm going to watch those silly clips. And something in me knows that what I'm doing right now isn't really serving me at all. It's serving YouTube, though, and it's serving its advertisers and so on, that's for sure. But it doesn't serve you at all. It just fills your mind with rubbish. And you know it. But we still do it. How about not doing it? What happens if you don't do it? Well, if you don't do it, if you keep yourself from doing it, you're kind of parenting yourself, what will happen is you then have to deal with the suffering that made you want to distract. You then have to clear up the things that need clearing up. You then have to see, well, I actually have a lot of time throughout the day. I'm just wasting a lot of it. What could I do with all that time? Well, perhaps catch up with loved ones, or practice meditation, do some yoga, do something that's good for you. Yeah, but that's hard. That's difficult. And within that difficulty, within that hardship, that's where you can truly get to know yourself. That's where you can get to know your character. So through the limitation of the structure that you impose on yourself, you can see how advanced you are on the spiritual path, whether your meditation training actually does something for you or not. If it does something for you, then it becomes increasingly more easy to do something for yourself that is really good. You kind of want to look after yourself. You want to take care of yourself. And you have the trust and confidence in yourself that you have your own back, that you actually can stand up for yourself and guide yourself to a place of growth instead of keeping yourself locked in the cell of the past. Just keep doing what you have been doing because it's expedient, it's easy. It's easy to do things that come easily. And what comes easily is everything that you've been conditioned to do, to think, to feel from your past. That is what comes easily. It's no effort. It takes no effort for me to complain when the train's late. Because I'm German. In Germany, the trains are usually late. But still, Germans love to complain about the fact that trains are late all the time. And it's a bit of a drama if it's like 2 or 3 minutes, right? People start looking at their watches. They're like, where's the train? Oh, it's late again. Can you believe it? And then think of the prizes. the ticket prices to go with these trains, and they're always late. And yeah, that's easy. That just comes naturally. Okay. I don't have to think to feel these feelings. I don't have to produce them. They don't cost me any effort. That's just my character. It's been formed that way. And what's active right now in all of us is our character. This is the way the past has formed us, shaped us. There is no freedom at all if you don't realize that, if you're not awake to it. You're completely trapped in just repeating whatever conditions there are. That's for, if you want to call them normies, people who don't meditate, people who don't reflect. They are bound to simply repeat past conditioning, to answer the way to things the way they have learned to answer. And most of the time, let's face it, that's us. Most of the time we are those normies. We're unaware. We're just going through life on autopilot, just doing what we feel an impulse to do in that moment without further reflection. We just do it. Just avoiding what we feel afraid of. That doesn't cost any effort. But it also perpetuates the problems from the past. It keeps them running, keeps them spinning around. So if you limit yourself, if you impose a structure on yourself, suddenly this automatic kind of thing is broken. Now the structure says, well, it's 3 p.m., now you need to do that. Whether you like it or not. Or it's 6 p.m., now you need to do your meditation session, whether you like it or not. Why do you need to do it? Because the structure says so. Why does the structure say so? Because it's good for me. Many people cannot parent themselves like this because they've never learned it. And in fact, we feel grateful very often when we are 18 or something like this, because then we have freedom all of a sudden. That's both a blessing and a curse. Now you can do whatever you want. Amazing. And it's also really bad at the same time, because now you can do whatever you want. Well, have you ever learned to care for yourself? Not really. Well, how did you care for yourself? What did you do when problems came to you? Well, I distracted myself, I escaped, all right, is that what you want to do for the rest of your life? Really, if you had the choice? Is it like a constant catching up again, you know? I've had this image. Imagine we're all strapped to a huge rock, and we're strapped with 100 rubber bands. All right, and so wherever you go, those 100 rubber bands, they have quite a tension. Yes, the rock is always close by to you. So you take a step forward, whoop, the rock is just pulled by those 100 rubber bands. It's just coming right behind you. Okay. Now, what if you cut one of those rubber bands? What about 2? What about 20? Then you take 3, 4, 5 steps forward, and the rock takes some time to catch up with you. And then it slowly catches up. Right? There's a bit of a delay. In the same way, if you practice well, you cut those rubber bands to your past, to your conditioning. That conditioning catches up with you slower and slower. In the same time, you have more and more freedom. What kind of freedom do you have? Well, to act in a way that's actually benefiting you. Not just the way that feels right, but the way that is right. And that starts by learning to follow a particular structure. So that's one way in which you can see who you are. You can see your character. Impose a structure onto yourself that is good for you, and then try to keep up with it. Start slow. Start with tiny little tasks. Like little things that, when taking my shoes off, I want to do this mindfully every time. I want to do this slowly. Take them off, put them down nicely, instead of just firing them across the room or something like that. take them off slowly. Take your time. Use it as a moment of wakefulness and deliberate action. And make it beautiful. Make it into a piece of art. Rather than carelessly doing what you've been doing yesterday and the month before that and the year before that, do something different. And make it a little bit nicer. How are you having conversations with people? Could you impose some limitations on yourself? Say, let another person finish their point. Then follow up with a question rather than just blurting in my stuff. Because I want to be heard now. How about I actually make once a day an attempt to really listen to someone, to offer that gift of presence and the kindness of hearing them out. Would that make a difference in your life in the long run if you did that a lot? Absolutely, you bet. All these little things make a difference. Especially if you keep repeating them, they accumulate. They accumulate quite a bunch of power. Before you know it, within a year, if you listen to people, suddenly you have a bunch of new friends, good friends, who really appreciate you being around. And another funny thing is, people start to want to listen to you as well. So lots of good things come out from just that simple little restriction. So it's a good thing for us. And within that restriction, can you relax? The conversation comes, your conversation partner talks, you put it into your mind, okay, I'm going to listen right now. But you really want to say your piece. You want to say it right now. It would make you look so clever if you would say that right now. You'd look like amazingly intelligent. That's your chance. Say it. But you don't. You restrict yourself, and instead you relax. And you find genuine relaxation within your body. Your muscles become softer. You become more comfortable in the moment. There you go. That says a lot about who you are. You're much more deliberate. You're much more careful with yourself. Careful in the sense of caring, kind. That reflects on others too. And it helps them too. That's amazing. It's great, great success, these kind of things. So you can look at your life. What kind of person am I? What kind of restrictions would help me to gauge my progress in my meditation? If I restrict myself there, would that be too challenging? Sometimes we restrict ourselves too much. I'm going to wake up at 3:30 a.m. and I'm going to start the day with 5 hours of meditation, morning routine, and then I'm going to lift 500 tons of iron within the next 2 hours after that. It's too much. You won't be able to do that. Obviously. So why try to be perfect in a way? Of course, I'm exaggerating massively here, but you know what I mean. We all do it. We take too much on our plate and we can't finish it. So they have a good system in Thailand in these menus, like you have these buffets. And they say if you don't finish what's on your plate, you have to pay one more time. I think that's genius. It's a great idea. So people are careful with that. I think they had to do it because people were putting also, it's like, wow, all this free stuff, like let's load it all onto my plate. So no one else is taking it away before I can take it, And then they throw away so much stuff. It's a pity. But in the same way, don't put too much on your plate. Learn how much you can handle. The key is, can you find comfort within discomfort? If you cannot find comfort within your chosen area of discomfort, if you cannot find comfort anymore, you're putting too much on your plate. On the other hand, if you always find comfort, no problem, easy, you might want to put some more on your plate. You're not challenged enough. You're not growing. You're staying in your comfort zone. It's easy for you to relax. Maybe your life is too easy. Something that I personally observe here in Phuket. You can order your food online. It just comes right to your door. And especially during COVID time, when we were all locked into our houses, you become incredibly lethargic. And it's so easy to just get into these unwholesome habits of indulging in whatever crap and just ordering your food and not moving and so on. All that happens so easily. So we have to push ourselves a little bit every day, right? There's this saying like each and every day we should do something we're afraid of. I think that's quite accurate. It doesn't have to be terror that you feel when you're doing it, but a little bit of fear is a good sign that can show you, well, here is an area in your life in which you could be growing. That there's some possibility there. It's yet untapped. It's public speaking, going to the gym, actually sticking to your word, all these kind of little things. They limit you. The second limitation is meditation itself. You sit down and you're still, you don't move. And then you're limited to just the present moment. And then you're limited just to the breath, for example. You can't move around much. That's a limitation. The question is, within that limitation of 20, 30 minutes of sitting quietly, can I find peace? Without escaping or fighting. These two, remember in the beginning I talked about them? How we relate to our experiences? Finding peace means you're neither fighting, battling with what is, nor are you following it, getting lost in it. To put that with a picture, it would be like a man that stands in a river and is fighting with the water, trying to make it flat, trying to organize it in a nice way, trying to organize the riverbed so that the river flows just the way the guy wants. There's actually a real story about this. This is a Tibetan monk that went on a retreat into the mountains, and he had his hut just next to a little creek. And at some point, during his retreat, during his meditations, he started hearing when the saints go marching in, that the tune, the water was flowing in that tune. And he couldn't unhear that, and it just kept piercing into his meditation. And it got so bad that he actually got up and rearranged the rocks in the river so that tune was gone. When you're on retreats, there's all kinds of fancy stuff like that would happen. I had similar experiences with birds that would just call the same call all the time. It's like up in Chiangdao, there's like some birds that make this weird sound, like pew. It sounds like, and it started sounding to me like, help, help, help. And he would just not stop, and he would just go on for hours screaming for help outside of my window. And I caught myself going like, shh, trying to shush him away, That's examples of trying to rearrange everything around us so we don't have to suffer it. But what we really want to do is, rather than rearranging the river to our liking, is to step out of it. The other thing that people often do as well, the other extreme is, just go with the flow. Do whatever. Just let go and let the river decide where you go. Just be present, man. Just let it carry you, and it'll just carry you to the right spot. No, it won't. It'll carry you in accordance with the riverbed, with your conditioning. And not too far ahead, there's a massive waterfall that just drops into a dark cave, which is very narrow. That's death. So that, just let go with the flow. If you're okay with that drop in the end, and just all right, go with the flow. Just let things happen. I don't think that's a very good idea. I don't think that's wise at all. It's often a misinterpretation of the old teachings, where the master would give instructions like, do nothing, rest in your natural presence. or rest within the nature of your mind. There's nothing to do. And then people go like, all right, there's nothing to do. Fantastic. So they just relax basically and just do whatever comes along. It's a kind of laziness actually. It's like, I don't want to care for myself. That's a convenient teaching. Let's just interpret it the way it suits me, and then I just go and do whatever I want. It even happens to advanced practitioners on the path. They suddenly feel like actions don't matter. Doesn't matter what I do. Everything's just infinite presence. Just let go and let things happen. That's a misinterpretation. Of course you want to let go, but the type of letting go is to step out of the river. Neither letting go into the river, nor fighting the river, but step out of the river. All the while you are bound by a really healthy structure. Padmasambhava, one of the great Tibetan masters, he said, let your view be as vast as space and your conduct be as refined as barley flour. It's very fine powder. So your conduct, your actions, your speech, your physical actions, and your mental actions should be very refined for the benefit of all, while your view is totally unbound, like a dreamer that realizes that it's all just a dream, while not abandoning our actions. If you go either one extreme, you get it wrong. And think, oh, right, I'm totally unbound and free, I can do whatever I want. You got it wrong. Similarly, if you're a kind of moralist and you think, oh, all my actions and behaviors are the most important thing, let's save the world, let's do this, let's do that to benefit people and so on, you lose yourself in that. It's an error as well, because you lack space. You're not completely at ease while doing all that. All right, so we have these two qualities that are there. That's how we should cultivate ourselves. So putting a limitation on ourselves shows us who we truly are, and that's one of the jobs of meditation. It's why I like to call meditation a kind of a mirror. It shows you who you really are. Sit there for half an hour, don't move, and see who you are. Under stress, under pressure, and then work on it, make it better. So that even within that half an hour or hour, you find real relaxation and you're really at ease with yourself. That's a development that's measurable. It's very concrete. Nothing fancy, airy-fairy. It's very clear. All right? Well, that's all that comes to mind for today.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and had a meaningful time. For more information and upcoming events, head over to our website at phuket-meditation.com. Thank you very much for listening and have a wonderful day.